We have this little tradition. I'm going to grab the guitar here. I'm not a great guitar player, and I'm not a great singer. But I've got a song here that I think is going to help us. And one day I was just, one of those days where you just feel stirred in your heart. And I was stirred, and these words just came to me that I wanted to write. And let me just sing them to you here. See if they mean anything to you. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Okay, so I didn't write the words. These are the books of the Bible. They're the books of the Bible. But this song is to help us to learn the books of the Bible. Okay? So, would you please stand? Let's all stand, whether you're here or at home or some other place. Let's stand. And this is kind of a, how many of you like beautiful music? Okay, we don't have any of that today. But we do have this. This first part is sort of a she'll be coming around the mountain thing, okay? It goes like this. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings and Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. You got it? You still need the words? Okay, that's a joke. All right, here we go. Let's try it. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Ready? What's the first word? Genesis. Okay, here we go. Like that one guy that said, I believe the whole Bible from generation to revolution. Well, it's not generation, it's Genesis. Let's try. Ready? Oh, wait. Warm up. Me. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings and Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. All right. Very good, very good. Now, I'm going to throw a little twist on it. Ready? How many of you are from the South? Anybody from the South? All right. Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, even parts of Florida and all that. North Carolina, South Carolina, all of that area, Atlanta, that's the South, okay? And has anyone ever noticed that some of them talk just a little different than our part of the country? In fact, I remember I took our staff, we wanted to do an outing, and somebody said, hey, down here in South Orange County, they got a musical, it's called Oklahoma. And I said, well, is it good? I've never seen it. They said, yeah, it's good, let's take the staff. So we took the staff. Well, during the whole musical and play, they're talking like that, and well, we took all of our staff, including our Spanish pastor, Pastor Francisco. And so, he'd been really learning English and such anyway. So we went all the way, you know how they have an intermission right in the middle? And so we got up to the intermission, and everybody clapped, and they started to break and such. Well, my brother, David, he was sitting next to Pastor Francisco and said, Pastor Francisco, do you like it? He goes, oh, yeah. It's English? They said, yeah, it's English. It's just, a little different than ours, okay? But it's still English, and they probably think that we sound a little funny too. But let's try this country style, okay? So instead of Genesis, let's say Genesis, all right? Genesis, Exodus. Come on, let's sing it. Genesis. Now, come on. If you don't know how to do this, just kind of twist your jaw or something there. Come on. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings and Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. There it is. All right, right there. All right. Let's jump to the New Testament. The New Testament has a different tune, but it's just as bad. Okay? Goes like this. Oh, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts and a letter to the Romans, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians and Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, 1st and 2nd Timothy, Titus and Philemon, Hebrews, James, 1st and 2nd Peter, 1st and 2nd and 3rd John, Jude and Revelation. Okay, here we go. Let's try it now. Ready? What's the first word of the New Testament? Matthew. The Old Testament has 39 books. The New Testament has 27 books for a total of 66 books. That's what you're learning. By the time we get done with these 4 weeks, you're going to have these tunes stuck in your head tormenting you. But you're going to know the books of the Bible, so when somebody says, turn to Zechariah, you're going to know where it is. When somebody says, turn to Philippians, you're going to know where it is. When somebody says, turn to Hezekiah, you're going to say, there is no Hezekiah. Well, there's a king, but not a book, so you're going to know. Okay, ready? Here we go. New Testament, Matthew. Oh, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts and a letter to the Romans. Now, let me just stop right now. Some of you would say a letter to the Romans. I thought it was an epistle to the Romans because that's what they used to always call it. And we used to sing an epistle to the Romans, but sometimes when you start singing really fast, it sounds like you're doing something bad on the Romans. So is it okay if we just keep it a letter? We just keep it a letter? All right. Let's send a letter. Let's send a letter. Okay, here we go. Ready? Oh, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts and a letter to the Romans, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians and Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, 1st and 2nd Timothy, Titus and Philemon, Hebrews, James, 1st and 2nd Peter, 1st and 2nd and 3rd John, Jude and Revelation. All right, let's try this country style. Ready? How do you say Matthew? Matthew. How'd you know? Look at that. Y'all are good. Here we go. Ready? Oh, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts and a letter to the Romans, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians and Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, 1st and 2nd Timothy, Titus and Philemon, Hebrews, James, 1st and 2nd Peter, 1st and 2nd and 3rd John, Jude and Revelation. Give yourself a hand. All y'all raise your right hand. Give 2 people a high five and say, sit down, redneck.